I stared at the divorce papers on our kitchen table, my hands trembling, not from fear, but from rage. Next to them lay a brochure for a wellness retreat, Patricia's latest attempt to convince everyone I needed help. "It's for your own good, Emma," my husband Mark said, his voice carrying that practiced concern his mother had perfected. "Mom found this place. They specialize in entrepreneurial delusions." Entrepreneurial delusions. That's what they called my work for the past 2 years. The late nights coding, the meetings with investors, the careful planning, all dismissed as symptoms of some imagined breakdown. "The doctors there can help you accept a normal life," he continued. Mom says, Mom thinks, Mom found." I cut him off. "When was the last time you had an original thought that didn't come from Patricia?" He flinched. 3 years ago, before Patricia moved in temporarily after her divorce, Mark would have supported my dreams. He was the one who'd encouraged me to learn coding in the first place. "You've changed, Emma. These fantasies about being some tech mogul, the secretive phone calls, the separate bank account Mom found, that your mother found by snooping through my things?" I stood up, anger finally boiling over. "Did she also tell you why she was going through my office while we were at work?" "She's worried about you. We all are." He pushed the divorce papers toward me. "If you don't agree to get help, I don't see how we can continue." I picked up the papers, scanning the terms Patricia had undoubtedly helped draft. They wanted full control of our assets until I was stable. They wanted me to attend 6 months of therapy with Patricia's chosen doctor. They wanted to erase everything I built. What perfect timing. "You know what?" I pulled out my phone and checked the time. "Let's call your mother. She should be here for this." "Emma." "Call her, Mark. Now." Something in my voice made him comply. 20 minutes later, Patricia swept in wearing her signature Chanel suit and disapproving expression. "Oh, Emma," she sighed dramatically, finally ready to accept help. I walked to our home office and retrieved a folder I'd been saving for a special occasion. "Actually, Patricia, I'm ready to tell the truth." "We know the truth," she said smoothly. "Your paranoid secretiveness, your obsession with this imaginary company." Imaginary. I pulled out my phone again and opened my banking app. "Mark, what's the balance of our joint account?" He frowned. $42,000. "And you froze it last week on your mother's advice, right? To protect our assets?" I turned the phone toward them. "Now look at my personal account." Their eyes widened. Mark stumbled back. Patricia grabbed the phone. This is impossible," she sputtered. $43 million? $43,600,000 to be exact. I opened the folder. "Would you like to see the transfer receipt from Google? They bought my security encryption app last month." Mark collapsed into a chair. "But your company wasn't real." Mom said. Mom said a lot of things. I laid out more documents. "Remember those suspicious meetings, venture capitalists, those late night calls? My development team in Singapore. That concerning separate account? My initial seed money from angel investors." Patricia's face had gone from shock to calculating. "Darling, we only wanted to control me? To convince Mark I was crazy? To force me into some retreat that would give you power of attorney?" I smiled. "Check tomorrow's Forbes, Patricia. I'm on the cover." Mark was reading through the documents, his face ashen. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried. For months I tried. But every time I mentioned my work, your mother convinced you it was a sign of instability." I took back my phone. "Besides, Google required absolute secrecy during negotiations." "But now you can come home," Patricia said quickly. "Focus on your marriage, start a family. Now I can do whatever I want." I picked up the divorce papers, including saying no to these. "Emma, please," Mark stood. "I didn't know. We can fix this." "Can we? 2 hours ago, you were ready to commit me because your mother said so. You froze our accounts, invaded my privacy, and dismissed everything I've worked for as delusions." "I was worried about you." "No, you were worried about what your mother told you to worry about." I gathered my documents. "The funny thing is, I was going to surprise you next week. Take you on that dream vacation you always wanted. Buy us a house away from Patricia's influence. Give us a fresh start." Patricia's expression shifted. "Darling, I'm sure we can." "Save it." I held up my hand. "I've already called the lawyer, a good one. She'll be sending over my own divorce terms tomorrow." You can't just walk away, Patricia protested. Think about what people will say. I laughed. People will say your son divorced a successful tech entrepreneur because his mother convinced him she was crazy. How do you think that story will play in your social circles? Mark reached for me. Emma, I love you. No, I said softly. You love who your mother lets me be, and that's not enough anymore. My phone buzzed, a notification that the Forbes article had just gone live. Perfect timing indeed. I have a board meeting in the morning, I said, gathering my coat. My lawyers will be in touch about the divorce. Oh, and Patricia, the wellness retreat you recommended. I bought it this morning. I'm turning it into a tech incubator for women entrepreneurs. I left them standing in the kitchen with their shattered assumptions. As I drove away, my phone kept buzzing with notifications, colleagues congratulating me on the Forbes article, investors eager to back my next venture, and one very interesting message from Patricia's ex-husband about why their marriage really ended. But those were problems for tomorrow. Tonight, I had a celebration dinner with my development team, the people who had believed in me, supported me, and never once called me unstable for daring to dream big. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's success so massive it makes your doubters doubt themselves. And I was just getting started. The Forbes article went viral overnight. By morning, my phone had exploded with messages from old friends, distant relatives, and suddenly interested investors. But the most interesting message came from Robert Churchill, Patricia's ex-husband. I saw the article. His email read, "We should talk about what really happened to Churchill Technologies 15 years ago." I was in my new office, overlooking Seattle's skyline, when my assistant announced Patricia's arrival, right on schedule. "I'm not taking any meetings today, Claire," I said, not looking up from my laptop. "Mrs. Peterson is quite insistent," Claire replied, barely concealing her smirk. "She says it's about family." Family? I finally looked up. "Show her in. This should be entertaining." Patricia swept in wearing her most expensive outfit, carrying what I recognized as a $30,000 Birkin bag. New purchase, probably made this morning to impress me. "Emma, darling," she gushed. "You look wonderful. Success clearly agrees with you. Cut to the chase, Patricia. What do you want?" She settled into a chair, arranging herself carefully. "I've been doing some thinking. Perhaps I was hasty in my assessment of your business acumen." Hasty? I pulled up a file on my computer. "You told Mark's entire family I was having a psychiatric break. You convinced my own husband to freeze our assets. You tried to have me committed." Water under the bridge, she waved dismissively. "I'm here to make things right, to unite the family." I laughed. "By family, you mean access to my money." Her smile tightened. "I simply think we should put aside our differences. Mark is devastated. He misses you. Mark misses his comfortable life, and you miss controlling it." I turned my screen toward her. "Speaking of control, want to explain these documents Robert sent me." The color drained from her face. "You've spoken to Robert? About how you orchestrated his removal from his own company? About the forged signatures? The mysterious board votes?" I smiled. "He's been quite informative." "Those are lies," she hissed, her mask slipping. "Robert was unstable. Your favorite accusation. Unfortunately for you, Robert kept proof. And now I have it." She gripped her Birkin tighter. "What do you want?" "Want? I have everything I want. $43 million, a successful company, and freedom from your manipulation." I stood up. "What I'm going to do is help Robert reclaim what you stole." "You wouldn't dare." "Watch me." I pressed my intercom. "Claire, please show Mrs. Peterson out. And send in the SEC investigators who've been waiting." Patricia's eyes widened as two federal agents entered. "You can't do this to me." "Actually, I can, and I am." I sat back down. "Goodbye, Patricia." As they let her out, my phone buzzed with a text from Mark. "Can we talk? Please?" I stared at it for a long moment before replying. "My lawyer will contact yours." That evening, I met Robert Churchill for dinner. He was nothing like Patricia's descriptions of a mentally unstable failure. He was sharp, focused, and had kept meticulous records of everything she'd done. "She did the same thing to you," he said, spreading documents across our private dining room table. "Isolated you, called you unstable, used your husband as a weapon." "But why?" "She had money from your divorce settlement." "Patricia doesn't want money. She wants control. He sighed. I should have warned your husband years ago. Mark made his choice. I examined a particularly damning document. Multiple choices, actually. And now? I smiled. Now we make ours. The next week was a whirlwind. Robert's evidence, combined with my resources, led to a full investigation of Patricia's activities. Churchill Technologies' original board members were contacted. Old votes were scrutinized. Paper trails were followed. Mark tried calling daily, leaving increasingly desperate messages about love and forgiveness. I let them all go to voicemail. Then Patricia made her final mistake. Did you see this? Claire rushed into my office with a tablet. A local news site was running a story. Tech CEO's mental health crisis. A mother's concern. Patricia had given an interview, playing the worried mother-in-law card. She painted me as a troubled woman who'd gotten lucky with one app, but was spiraling into paranoid delusions. I called Robert immediately. Change of plans. We're going nuclear. 2 days later, every major tech publication ran the real story. How Patricia had orchestrated the hostile takeover of Churchill Technologies, how she'd used the same playbook of manipulation and gaslighting multiple times, and how her own son had enabled her latest attempt at control. The evidence was overwhelming. Robert's documents, board member testimonies, Mark's signed statements agreeing to have me committed. Even Patricia's therapist friend admitted to agreeing to diagnose me without ever meeting me. Patricia's social circle evaporated overnight. Mark's law firm put him on indefinite leave, and Churchill Technologies' original board voted unanimously to restore Robert as CEO. Karma, Claire remarked, dropping off more congratulatory flowers from investors. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Mark. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I understand everything now. Can we meet? Just once. This time I agreed. We met in our old favorite coffee shop. He looked terrible, unshaven, tired, broken. I'm sorry, he said immediately. I know it's not enough, but I am so sorry. Why did you do it? I asked the question that had haunted me. Why didn't you trust me? Because I was weak, because it was easier to believe Mom than to stand up to her. He stared into his untouched coffee. Because I was afraid of losing her approval more than I was afraid of losing you. And now I've lost everything. Not everything, I said softly. You've gained something valuable. What's that? The truth about yourself. Use it wisely. I stood up. Goodbye, Mark. As I walked out, I felt lighter. Sometimes losing everything you thought you wanted leads you exactly where you need to be. Robert and I launched a foundation for entrepreneurs facing domestic manipulation. Patricia's wellness retreat became a thriving innovation center. And Mark started therapy, real therapy this time. Success isn't just about money. It's about writing your own story, even when others try to cast you as the villain. And sometimes the happy ending isn't getting back what you lost. It's realizing you found something better. 1 year later, I sat in the auditorium of what used to be Patricia's wellness retreat, now transformed into the Bennett Innovation Center. 300 women entrepreneurs filled the seats, each with a story of someone trying to dim their light. Success isn't just about profits, I told them during my keynote speech. It's about breaking cycles. It's about showing others what's possible. In the back row, I spotted Robert with his new wife, Sarah, a brilliant software engineer who'd helped us rebuild Churchill Technologies. Next to them sat Mark, looking healthier after a year of real therapy and personal growth. He asked to attend today. His first email in 6 months had been simple. I want to understand what Mom prevented me from seeing. After the speech during the networking reception, he approached me. That was incredible, he said, keeping a respectful distance. The work you're doing here, it's changing lives. That's the point. I sipped my champagne. How's the support group going? He'd started a group for people recovering from parental manipulation. Ironic, considering our past, but genuine progress rarely follows a straight line. It's helping. We have 20 members now. He hesitated. Mom tried to contact me last week. Oh, I kept my voice neutral, though my grip on the glass tightened. She's in Arizona. Says she's changed. Wants to reconcile. He smiled sadly. I told her to send any communications through my therapist. Progress. Yeah. He looked around the renovated space. Remember when she wanted to send you here? And now you're using it to empower the very people she tried to silence. It's poetic. A young woman approached us, clutching a tablet. Mrs. Bennett, your 4 o'clock is here. The investors from Singapore. Thank you, Jessica. I turned back to Mark. Duty calls. Emma? He called as I started to walk away. Thank you for showing me what strength really looks like. I nodded and headed to my meeting, my heels clicking on the marble floors that once might have housed my prison. Now they carried me to new opportunities, new ventures, new heights. The Singapore investors wanted to expand our incubator program globally. As I walked them through the proposal, my phone buzzed with a news alert. Patricia Peterson faces federal charges in Churchill Technologies case. Finally, Robert's evidence had done its job. The carefully documented paper trail of forgery, fraud, and manipulation had caught up with her. The society maven who tried to commit me was now facing commitment of a different kind to a federal institution. After the meeting, I found Robert and Sarah in my office. Did you see? Robert asked, holding up his phone with the same news alert. Justice takes time, Sarah remarked, but it usually arrives. Speaking of justice, I pulled out a folder. The board approved your proposal. Churchill Technologies is officially returning to its original mission, funding innovative startups that other companies overlook. Robert's eyes misted. The company my father built, finally back on track. With some upgrades, Sarah added, squeezing his hand. We're focusing on founders who've been told they're unstable for daring to dream big. My phone buzzed again. A message from Mark. Mom's calling everyone, crying about persecution. I blocked her number. Moving forward, not back. Progress indeed. That evening, I stood in my office, watching the sunset paint Seattle's skyline in shades of possibility. My assistant brought in the latest applications for our incubator program. There's one you should see first, Claire said, pulling out a particular file. Her mother-in-law had her committed for erratic behavior when she tried to patent her medical device. The device just got FDA approval. I smiled. Get her in here tomorrow and send her the Forbes article about my story. Already did. Claire grinned. She cried, said she finally felt seen. That's what it was all about, really, not the money, not the revenge, but the chance to turn pain into purpose, to transform wellness retreats into launching pads for dreams. My phone buzzed one final time that day, an email from Patricia's prison account. You've ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I typed back 3 words. I am. Goodbye, Patricia. Then I turned back to the applications, to the women waiting to rise, to the dreams waiting to soar. Tomorrow, we'd help another founder break free. Next week, we'd launch another company. Next month, we'd open another innovation center. Mark's support group would keep growing. Robert and Sarah would keep rebuilding Churchill Technologies. And I would keep turning unstable into unstoppable. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just success. It's using that success to ensure no one else has to fight the battles you fought alone. As I left the office that night, I passed the plaque we'd mounted in the lobby. It read, "To every woman who's been called crazy for chasing her dreams, chase them here." Below it in smaller letters, "In memory of all the dreams Patricia Peterson tried to kill, they grew stronger in the dark." Sometimes happy endings aren't about getting back what you lost. They're about building something so magnificent that your scars become stepping stones, your pain becomes purpose, and your story becomes someone else's survival guide. And that's worth more than all the Birkin bags in the world.